About 15 million years ago, all matter was concentrated in a relatively small sphere, in one very dense mass of very hot gas. It is thought that about 4.6 billion years ago, the Earth, like other planets in the solar system, originated from a thin disk of tiny solid particles, immersed in a sort of gas donut that surrounded the Sun while the latter was forming. The sphere of fire exploded, the so-called Big Bang, scattering into space matter and energy under the form of elementary particles. Initially, matter bundled together to form bodies of a few kilometers, and these started to bump into each other like billiard balls. They collided and fused together to form thicker and more solid bodies called protoplanets. At first, the mass of the newly formed Earth was an agglomeration of rocks, metals, gases, and radioactive elements in a state of fusion. During its formation, the Earth started to heat up, partly because, as the fragments clustered together, the gravitational energy changed into heat, and partly due to the energy released by the radioactive elements that were present in the original matter. The subsequent temperature rise caused the planetary matter to fuse. The denser part, formed mostly by metals like iron and nickel, concentrated in the core. Matter with an intermediate density, like basalt, collected in a higher layer. And finally, the less dense matter, like silicate minerals, spread on the surface to create a crust. Volcanic activity produced the primordial atmosphere. The Earth inside continued to boil. Strong earthquakes caused incandescent magma to emerge, and mountains would then form. On the outside, gases and vapors made their way to the surface. These gases and vapors fell onto our planet under the form of very violent millenary rainfalls. Water accumulated, giving rise to the oceans. On the Earth, land and water were now recognizable. Planet Earth was born. According to the continental drift theory, Wegener, more than 200 million years ago, only one big supercontinent existed, Pangaea, and it was surrounded by only one immense ocean, Panthalassa. The land opened out into one deep gulf, the Sea of Tettide, from which the Mediterranean Sea developed. Subsequently, thanks to a specific process, new oceans opened out, giving rise to two main continental blocks, while rifts and ridges began to isolate the third block. The South Atlantic Ocean opened out, and the North Atlantic Ocean began to form. South America separated from the Antarctic. India got closer to the Eurasian continent, and the chain of the Himalayas would form from their collision. Today, the Earth's surface has the layout we all know well, but the plates continue to move incessantly and to change its aspect where ridges and abyssal trenches are being formed. Looking ahead into the future, if the direction of movement does not change, Africa will have a fracture in its eastern part. Australia will move northwards, whilst the Atlantic Ocean will become bigger.